Hey there, and welcome back. Today we're going to talk about variables and how you can use them in your app. So, what are variables? Well, variables are essentially just a way of storing values. In Jet, there are 4 categories: page, global, user, and team, and 2 kinds of variables: temporary and stored. This is my app, and it has 2 pages. On this page, I'll click on Next, and I'll move the progress bar to In Progress, and then I'll go to the other page, and when I return, I can see that the progress bar has been reset. This is because the variable is temporary. Temporary variables can be useful for things like filling out a form, but for many other use cases, you're going to want to use a stored variable so that you don't lose your progress when switching pages or logging out or something like that. It's worth noting that variables can be of any field type, that is to say, of any type of data that you would use in other components in JetAdmin. There are different ways that you might want to use variables in your app. One example is if you wanted to store static values for something like a survey, you could create a JSON variable that would hold all that information. Then, using Jet's parse JSON function, you would be able to extract whichever information you want from that variable. There are many examples of how you might use variables, but for today, we're going to use them to set up a progress bar with buttons for next and previous to move the progress on the bar. Here's what it will look like when it's done: just buttons and a bar that move back and forth. But let's build it from scratch. So first, open up a new page or choose the page that you want to add it to, and drag and drop a progress bar and 2 buttons into your app. So the way this is going to work is that I'm going to use a variable to store the current value, the current step in my progress bar. And then I will use a formula for the buttons to alter that value. So first things first, let's set up a variable. In the menu bar at the top, I'm going to click on Variables, and I'm going to add a new page variable. In this case, I want it to be temporary because I don't want the state to be stored across sessions. So I'm going to call my variable current step. I'm going to make it a number type and give it the default value of 0. And now I'll just hit create. Okay, so let's click on the progress bar again, and where it says current step, I'm going to use a formula to choose my current step variable, which I can now find in that menu. So now let's look at that first button. I'll rename it to back, and I'll give it the action set variable. The variable I want to choose in this case is current step. It's also the only one I have, but you would see other variables here if you had more. Now I'll simply set the function as current step -1 because I'm moving back. So let's set up the other button in the same way. I'll click on it, rename it, choose the action set variable, and then I'll choose my variable and set it to current step +1. Great, so now this works. I can click on my buttons and move the progress back and forth. So let's take a look back at the variable menu. If I open it up, I can see my variable, and I can also see what value it currently has. Another thing I can do here is if I click on these 3 dots, I have options like editing and deleting, but I can also make the variable stored if I do want to have it saved for other sessions. So I just want to mention again the different kinds of variables. There are page variables, which are specific to a page, global variables, which go for the whole app, and there are also user and team variables, which are going to be specific for a user or a team, depending on how you set it up. If you want to learn more about variables, be sure to check out our documentation, and be sure to try out JetAdmin if you haven't already. Have a good one.